Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast. Aaron.
And Daniel, to my right.
Perfect.
Your left.
Oh, yeah. So, thanks for coming back, watching the show, listening to the show. No matter the platform, we're here, ready to give you some good information. Today, and it's part of kind of the new thing that we are doing, we're bringing the label to you guys. I think it's something that technicians underestimate, actually, in a lot of ways. I do see this is part of my story, is I had to read the label. A lot of guys don't read the label. A lot of guys just, hey, my office said this dilution for this type of bug, and that's what I do, and nobody looks deeper into it. And it's crazy how much information is actually sitting in the back of your truck. I mean, insane.
Yeah.
And no one even looks at it.
Right.
No one even cares to. And what's cool is a lot of these companies have actually made it very simple.
Yes, they have.
You know, we talked about Cilantro, the last label that we went over, and really basic, pretty much tells you line by line what to do, how to do it. At least in California, you actually have to, when you're taking your test on some of the licensing, they make you read through a label. You know, just like school where they're like, hey, read this short story and then answer some questions. It's to help you understand, like, hey, guys, you have a lot of solid information on your vehicle. Label is law. You've heard it a million times.
Yeah.
Go read it. But if you don't have time, we wanted to do it for you.
We got your back.
We got your back. So today, Aaron, what is the label?
Famous Alpine WSG, in case you haven't heard of it.
And I'll do you one better. I'll throw it up on the screen here.
Perfect.
So guys, and what we're doing and what we wanted to show you is I'm doing this on a computer, of course. You can do this on your phone. It's really simple. Okay. Alpine WSG Label PDF.
Yeah.
That's literally what I typed in. Okay. Actually, I only typed in Alpine WSG. Google finished it for me and said label PDF. Yeah. All right. And we wanted to show you actually what you can do and a lot of the great information that is sitting literally in the palm of your hand in that little device, right? Or if you have a computer, go look it up. But if you click here on BASF, they're sponsoring it, so it's going to be the very first thing, Alpine WSG. When you click on that, it's going to pull you into their website, okay? Their website is literally going to go through Alpine WSG, water-soluble granule insecticide, blah, 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 right? PMPs have an ally in the fight against ants, cockroaches, and more. You know, they're selling you on the product. Yeah. But they also have a lot of valuable information on here. Okay. So you have your downloads and resources, which is talking about the Alpine WSG ant cell sheet. I'm not going to click on all of these, guys. Go do it yourself. Go look in, dig into this. This is part of the education process. We actually had a great pest guest who talked about this, Jonathan, who's going out there actively looking this stuff up, actively learning, working more than his 8 hours on the clock to make sure that he is doing a great job. Thanks, Jonathan, for all your input as well. But go through, look this stuff up. It's right there. Literally, you have all access worldwide. I don't care where you're at in the world, unless your country is restricting this information, which in most cases it's not. You can look this up. You can go to the BASF website, right? They even have some multimedia. It's under that. YouTube videos of where you can spray absolute ant control inside and out. I mean, gold information.
Literally right there.
Yeah. You don't know where to do this stuff. You don't know where to find it. You're stuck in a situation. Do something different. Yeah. Look for this information. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about the label.
Yes.
So when you do click on that section, it is going to pop up and it is going to say, this is your label database, right? And this is going to go through the labels and SDSs, okay? Specimen label is what you want, okay? That is exactly the label that is printed out on every single bottle, and that's what Aaron actually has in his hands, okay? That's the label. You go down, it's in Spanish. They even have recommendation for control of forward fly fungus gnat in buildings. We're not going to talk about that. They have other... What?
But it's there.
It is there.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's the thing is like you get into a situation you don't know. It's literally all right there.
100%.
You know, so then it goes down and it has the SDS as well. SDS, if you have not listened to that episode, I do talk about SDS and the difference between a label and an SDS, okay? SDS is not going to tell you what you can treat, how you can treat, dilution rates, nothing like that. That is the specimen label. The specimen label is going to tell you everything that you can do. SDS is going to be your safety. It's for firefighters. It's for doctors. It's in case of an emergency, something happens out in an area, a massive spill. What do? That's the SDS. Okay. Specimen label is not going to be covering a lot of that stuff. That's why there's 2 of those. So depending on what you want to know and the information you need and the state that you live in, like us, we have to have access to an SDS for every product we use on our vehicle, right? So on all of our vehicles, we have a booklet with the SDS. And all of the bottles have to have a label attached. If it's not attached, you have to have it in your vehicle per the law, unless they've changed it. And if they have, they don't like to tell anybody anyway, because we're in California. They like to keep that a secret for some reason. But as of right now, it's supposed to be in your vehicle.
Right.
Okay, so we'll jump in. So here is the label. Take us away.
Okay, front page. Alpine WSG. What does WSG means? Water soluble granule. Some of the cool things they have on the very top, Smart Solutions Facts. It's a non-repellent active ingredient. So obviously Sylvia's episode was great. If you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen to that. She's from BASF and kind of broke down some of these components and what some of this stuff means. But next point, may be used in conjunction with a non-repellent insecticide, such as those containing dinotefuran. So it gives you examples of like the Alpine cockroach gel bait, ant control product. It's a rotational partner for bedbug control, and then for use on stored product pests. Right under that, it has a laundry list of everything that it does kill. Under that, it has for use in and around, which when you actually start looking at it, kind of opens your eyes. So you start reading, so animal housing, go down clinics, hospitals, food handling establishments. Yeah. And again, this is just blanketing kind of what it kills, what you can use it around. When you start getting into the filler of it, it'll kind of have more in-depth specifics on treatment methods, applications, but front page always is going to have active ingredients and other ingredients as well, which we went over on the cilantro label. Active ingredients is what's actually killing the pest. The other ingredients is what's making up the other components of the product. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Front page, pretty straightforward. Move over to number 2, first aid. Guys, very straightforward. If it's in your eye, hold it open and rinse it slowly with water. Again, we've been over this before. I don't know how it could get in your eye if you're doing things properly with PPE, but just in case, it will have that stuff on there.
Yeah.
A lot of the first couple pages, it has your precautionary statements, hazards to human, domestic animals, safety recommendations, wash hands before eating, chewing, drinking gum, environmental hazards, groundwater advisory. Again, we're not going to go too in depth. We just want to show you guys that it does have this information, very straightforward.
Yeah. And all the labels are the same.
Yeah, in terms of how they're broken down.
Yeah, they're literally the same. They have to have all of this information if it applies to that. Mm-hmm. So like cilantro, you didn't see protection of pollinators because cilantro doesn't affect pollinators, right? So you're not going to see that on the label.
Sure.
But anything that's going to, you're going to start to see these and they're almost identical.
Mm-hmm.
The wording may change a little bit depending on the chemical makeup.
Sure.
But it's literally going to be the same format, same layout across the board.
Yeah.
Because it all goes down to, if you go up, I'm going up, sorry, on the first page, it's the EPA registration number, and EPA is the one who controls all of that and makes that. So all these labels are literally going to be the same.
Yeah. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Scrolling along. So again, goes into more protection of pollinators. Directions for use. It's a lot of good do's and don'ts. Most of this is don'ts, so it's do not apply within aircraft cabins, outdoor residential misting systems. Mm-hmm. Don't apply to humans or their clothing or to mattresses. Now I know. Do not
apply it to a mattress?
I have. Do not apply to classrooms when in use. Do not contaminate food, feedstuffs, or water supply. Again, even though a lot of this stuff might be some common knowledge, it is good to kind of read through it. You know, if you do have some time or you're doing the training or you bring out a new guy looking for not only the dilution rates and where to apply, but some of the stuff is important too.
Well, this is the other thing is the label that you have on your vehicle on that product, you may actually have an old label. So it could be outdated. So if you're going on the website, you're actually looking it up and you're going straight to BASF or whatever company you're using, CSI, all the other ones out there, you can get the up-to-date label on their website. They have to. They have to have it. So, and I'll give a quick example of this is in California, they changed the label of Termidor a handful of years ago. All of the old Termidor that you had, the old label, you could follow the old, they allowed you to follow the old label, which was very broad. So it let us spray it in a lot of areas that we're not allowed to and more frequently. But they ended up having to change it, right? So they came out with a California label, New York label, different labels. And in those labels, it was restricted. So if you had the new product, you couldn't follow the old label. You had to follow the new label.
Okay.
But they did make that very known of, hey, these are the changes that are happening to Termidor and this is what's going to happen and this is the new label. And they gave us a year to actually use all the old product.
Sure.
Once that year came up, they said, okay, even if you have an old bottle and old label, you still have to follow the new label and the new rules with it, but you can still have that old bottle. That's okay. Because some people, in our case, which I didn't know at the time, John Woodward had, he helped out, but we had gallons of Termidor and we're not a termite company.
Yeah.
And so we had more Termidor than we could even use within a year period. So we actually had old labels running into the new label and even into the year mark. So we had to follow the new rules with the old labels. Okay. So if the techs were opening that up and they were reading the old labels, they could be applying it wrong, but we taught everybody differently. But that's in some cases, depending on how much your company purchases at a time, you could have an outdated label.
Sure.
And you got to remember, it's a production process, right? So they printed that label on Alpine 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Or even further than that. And they could have an updated label today. And you're getting a bottle, even though it's brand new, but it was already made 6 months ago. It was printed 6 months ago. They didn't change that label then.
Yeah.
So you may have to go online and figure it out and see what it, where it applies to you specifically, and where you're sitting. So this is all good. If you go on their website, you're always going to get the newest label. Like our SDS sheets, we have to update every once in a while because they update the SDS.
Yeah.
So we could have an old SDS, but it could be completely outdated.
True.
So it's always good to go online. If you're not reading from straight your vehicle, the Alpine label, go online and check it out.
Easy stuff.
Oh yeah.
More into the storage and disposal. Store in a cool, dry area away from heat or open flame. Container handling. Triple rinse container as follows. Even has directions to triple rinse, which is cool.
Yep. Do not reuse or refill.
Please. In case of an emergency, they have the Chemtrek BASF help lines on there. Let's see. Actually, really do go in depth. It's cool. Product information. I like this page. So this will kind of go through what it actually looks like to get it into whatever vessel you're spraying it out of, whether it's a handheld, how big your sprayers are. It'll go through that in the spray dilution chart. So mixing instructions, thoroughly clean spray equipment before mixing and application of this product. We had a great pest guest on that talks about that too.
Yeah, we did.
Single-use packets, which I did not know that they made. It's 10 grams of it. Go through the instructions there. Resealable bottle. It'll kind of tell you add approximately half the water to the spray tank, add the amount of grams that you want to use based on the dilution rate, and then fill up the tank after that. So I think what they're saying is if it's bone dry, don't just dump, 10 or 20 or however many you put in there. Fill it up halfway, put in the product, fill it up the rest of the way.
Yeah, and there's reasons to this. Like I learned the hard way, but like you read the label, like literally read it, how to fill it up too. Cause if you're not familiar with it, Termidor is a great example. I know we're not talking about Termidor, but Termidor is a great example of it foams. It tells you on the label, fill up your B&G or backpack or whatever first full of water, then put in Termidor. Try to put it in Termidor first, guys.
Yeah,
try it. And then fill it up with water.
Yeah.
It literally just foams. And you'll get maybe about half of the tank filled before it, because it is a foaming agent. I mean, the idea is so they can foam walls and things like that. So, and there's products to make it so it doesn't foam too, that you can add in. But reading this and why they're doing that, there's a reason why they're saying, hey, pour this in first with so much water instead of just putting it in the bottom. And, there's big reasons for dilution reasons, right? So it can actually, it's a water soluble. So it's supposed to evenly distribute throughout the water. It's clear. There's no smell. But if you're just pouring it in an empty tank and then putting water in, that could make it a clump. It could take longer to dissolve something. But following this is actually, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
I don't know why on here, because I've never actually put Alpine in just a tank that's empty.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a reason to it.
But it's on the label. So good point. Now underneath you have a spray dilution chart. Now it kind of goes through some cool facts. Whatever size tank that you're using or however much water you're using, it'll tell you how much product to use for the certain amount of square feet. So the first one, grams of product to make 1 gallon of finished dilution to treat up to 1,000 square feet. Real simple, 10, 20, 30. And it'll go down the list if you have larger, sprayers or whatever you're using there. Nice and easy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Going to tank mixing. So this product can be tank mixed with other water-based insecticides, including but not limited to IGRs, quick knockdown products, and residuals. Before mixing, test to see if the products are compatible. When mixing, follow the more restrictive label used for directions of mixed products.
Ooh, why?
Because you always want to go on the stricter side.
Yeah.
Using the label.
Yeah. At least in California, the law allows you to go. So if your max is 10 grams of Alpine, you can put in 9. It's not illegal. You can go less than. Going more than is illegal.
Yeah.
More than can cause problems. More than is the issue. So if you're going on the strict side of things and you're going less than, you're never going to get in trouble and you're more than likely never going to have any issues.
Yeah.
And the reason why they do say, see if your product's compatible, because I won't get into specific details, but we put 2 products in our tanks and those 2 products will actually make like chunks because they combine. So whatever the chemical makeup is, they're actually connecting to themselves and they make almost rocks. They're a lot softer, but there's just like pebble size in there in our tanks of chemical. So you do want to make sure that this is compatible one with another.
Yeah.
Because you can have certain things come up and issues like that.
Absolutely. Down underneath, void/crack and crevice application. This is cool. I'll go into it.
Yeah.
So applying to cracks, crevices, and voids with equipment designed for such applications. Follow the manufacturer recommendations for proper equipment setup and operating pressures. Place the tip of the applicator at or into the crack, crevice, or void to be treated. Apply product in short bursts while keeping tip in position. Allow the air stream to push the finished dilution into voids and or cracks and crevices. Apply in such a manner to avoid dripping and runoff. So veterans out there, of course, you're probably naturally doing it. But if you're trying to explain to a guy, it's like you're doing a crack and crevice treatment and you have a new guy there. He might just say, as long as I just douse the entire crack and like the higher void, I'm good, right? It's like, no, there's actually a way to do it properly, which this breaks down, which is awesome.
Yep.
Indoor applications underneath. Dilute to the proper concentration according to the targeted pest infestation. Follow the mixing directions on the chart. Indoor applications table for use rates and pests. So kind of just reminding you to go back and use it, so you're doing it correctly.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, here's where we get into the fun. You have anything on that? You good?
No. I'm good. Yeah, keep on going.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm just going to blow through this, so stop me if you see anything interesting.
No, I think it's perfect.
Indoor application. So you start going through the specific pests. It'll actually tell you the finished dilution rate, grams per gallon. So there's no guessing. There's no chemist. There's no trying to formulate this own stuff, guys. It's all right here. So just real quick on the ants, excluding farrow. So make spot, crack and crevice, and or void applications where ants may be foraging and or nesting, such as around doors, window frames, under sinks, around pipes and pipe voids, attic venting, and other areas where ants may find to access or nest. Now, when you go into a completely different pest, such as like bed bugs or something, right? So make spot, crack and crevice, same thing as the first, but where evidence of bedbug infestation occurs or bedbugs are suspected or likely to occur, such as bed frames, box springs inside empty dressers, clothes, closets and luggage, carpets, draperies, furniture, headboards, high and low wall moldings, do not apply to mattresses. But basically, it goes through a lot of the common pests for indoor applications.
Yes.
Right? Underneath, it has some really good stuff about food/feed handling establishments. Won't get too much into it, but real big and bold if you see that. Applications of this product in food/feed areas of food/feed handling establishments may be made as a crack and crevice, void, spot, or general treatment. Mm-hmm. Right. So you can kind of just understand that. And if you are doing that, you're like, cool, now I know that I'm in this area. I want to treat this area. I'm going to go down and say, okay, so non-food/feed areas are like garbage rooms, lavatories, floor drains to sewers. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
well, once again, it goes back into if you don't know what you're treating or how to treat, don't guess. You don't need to. Mm-hmm. You know, they're trying to eliminate the problems. This is why we're having so many restrictions come against us for different products, because my personal opinion is the homeowner's actually ruining it for us, not the professional. But most guys don't take the time to figure out what the label is actually saying to do. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, there's ants, I'm going to put 30 grams Alpine. You don't need to.
Yeah.
It says it on the label. Mm-hmm. Why? You know, like go to the lesser side.
Yeah.
I'm going to spray this drain because there's cockroaches coming out. There's different products for that.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that. You don't need to pour this product down the drain, because now you're going to make this active ingredient restricted and restricted use. Mm-hmm. And then now what are we going to do?
That's a good question.
You know, so this is the thing that we're saying. This is why they have to go into so many details on this.
Sure.
Where to point your nozzle, short bursts. I mean, they're literally describing this, so specifically, because they understand, one, we're trying to make it safe, as safe as possible, right? So as safe as possible, but also if you follow it, you're going to get the results that you desire. Mm-hmm. If you start making up weird stuff in your head, text do this, guys. I know it because we have them. We've had them here. Yeah. They make up stuff. They're just like, oh, I'm just mixing these products together. Do you even know what those products do and why?
Yeah.
Most of the time, no. I know this one does that, but I figured it'd be okay. It's like, no, it's not how that works.
Yeah.
You know, so it is going in and reading this and understanding, hey, I'm in an area, I'm in a food prep area or whatever, food handling area. How do I spray this?
Yeah.
Boom. Label's going to tell you literally how to do it. You don't even have to go ask your manager, your boss. Go take 5 minutes and read freaking 3 paragraphs. Mm-hmm. You'll literally know how to treat an entire food area.
Yeah.
And it's done.
Seriously.
So that's what I'm saying, though, is you guys have to take some time to do this on your own. Mm-hmm. Don't always rely on, and I know your manager, everything, they're always a good point of contact, but it's something I even say so often is I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know what it said when I read it a year ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is saying today, but I will look and I'll make sure that I am correct. Mm-hmm. But understanding, hey, I'm going, not because I don't trust you, but I'm going to second guess that guy to make sure that I am applying it the correct way.
I agree with you. And even if you are a manager in your training, you get into these certain quality control stuff, you have tons of callbacks, and, do you know how stuff is actually getting mixed in, or did you just explain it to them and, show them to do it once, or are they leaving like a quarter of the B&G with a different product that's not compatible, that's like counteracting each other, and you wonder why you have so many callbacks? So this is a good way just to kind of keep yourself in check too, and just to make sure that you actually understand, how these products work and are mixed together.
Well, and for example, I'll do a rough count. We have 4, 5, 6, 7 different products on our trucks that I can think of. And you're going to remember one is for one specific thing, right? Mm-hmm. Usually that's what I'll throw it out there. Precor 2625. We have that on our vehicles. Well, Precor, when I first came on, it was thrown out as fleece. Mm-hmm. Well, the label's a lot broader than just fleece.
Way bigger.
So as I started reading that label, it's cockroaches, German cockroaches specifically, bed bugs specifically are on there, and a lot of other insects. Mm-hmm. So that product can treat a lot of different insects.
Yes, it can.
That's why you need to go in and you need to start reading this and figuring it out, because your label in that one way, okay, Alpines are go-to for ants, interior treatments, things like that. Mm-hmm. But look at all the other things, right? The Asian lady beetles.
Yeah.
And centipedes, 10 to 30 grams. Where? Make a spot, right? Crack and crevice and void applications. Those are things I'm not going to memorize.
No.
Because what? I'm going to treat a centipede situation once every couple of months?
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember that, so going back in and reading it frequently is going to help you understand, and you're going to see kind of the changes to it of, oh yeah, we can do that here, or we can do that there. But that's why it's good to go back through it. You jump down and you go paper wasps and yellow jackets, right? It tells you exactly, do not use where there is an electrical shock hazard. This product does not provide instant knockdown.
I love that.
It's huge, right?
Love that.
And people think, oh, well, if I go 30 grams or I go up to 50 grams, I will get a better knockdown. And you probably will. Sylvia mentioned that, on a higher dilution rate, you're going to get a quicker kill, but that's not what you want.
Yeah.
In some cases, it even tells you when it comes to ants, right? If it goes, and not on here, not on carpenter ants, but if you go too high, you're going to start killing them too quickly and they never make it back.
Yeah.
So then your transfer effect doesn't work. I had that experience. And if you go back and listen to Sylvia, I told her about that experience.
Yeah.
And she mentioned, that's a possibility.
I just had that experience on a quality control this week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I told the customer, I was like, because we've had a couple techs go out there treating for ants, and it's been, and this is on me for not for letting that slip, but anyways, they were just spray and spray and spray, and I was going through the chemicals, and I realized, I'm like, oh my God, we're probably killing them too quick. So when I got there and told the customer that, he was like kind of flabbergasted, because I was like, hey, I'm doing quality control. Looks like we've been out here a couple of times to treat for ants. We haven't had we haven't gained control over it. Based on the service records and what the techs have been using and how frequently we have been treating, I think we're killing them too fast. And instantly he was like, looking at me like I'm an idiot. He's like, what do you mean too fast? So I had to kind of educate him. And I'm like, this is why it's crucial to not do your own stuff. Don't spray Windex and wipe them down after we place bait, or spray some of this product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of like clicked, because when I started explaining what not to do, I could see the wheels kind of turning.
Oh.
Because the house was like pristinely clean, right?
Oh, so he was hurting more than helping.
Yeah, and he had like a little note. He was like, there's an ant here on like this point and at this day. And I was like, okay, guy, let's I'm here to just take care of the bugs, Yeah,
we're not doing an experiment here.
Yeah, but people just don't understand that concept sometimes, It's important to bring that up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Something cool before we move to the next page. Right on the bottom bar, it says, when a rate range is indicated, use the lower rate for maintenance applications and higher rates for heavy infestations. I know you guys are out there. You might be in it's a nice way to say a nasty apartment, but you see them all the time. And it's like, dude, there's cockroaches everywhere. There's bugs everywhere, but you're in another unit and it's, nice and clean, or whatever the situation may be. Your go-to might say, well, I'm just going to put 30 grams of Alpine in here. I'm just going to fill the top of it up and put it in there because I want to kill everything.
Yeah.
No, don't do that,
Well, and actually, I'm glad that you did hit that, because we need to go back and talk about something real quick, right? So it goes and says, I think it's up here even further. But anyway, I won't go into it 100% because I think it is up higher. But it's always saying when you are mixing these products together, it's saying, let's see, we're tank mixing. Anyway, I'm not going to find it. But the idea behind it is you want to go on the strictest part, right? Mm. And that's the thing. So you go into a house, and what if they do have fleas, right? What if they do have house flies on the exterior of the home, or they have spiders or something, right?
Sure.
And you see, well, paper wasps and yellow jackets are 30 grams. And how am I supposed to put 30 grams in a 1 gallon tank and spray for those and for fleas at the same time? You don't. You have to go 10 grams if you're going to use the same tank.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have to fill it up a half gallon and then dilute it accordingly. Use that half gallon, put in more, and then put 30 grams in it.
Easy.
But that's exactly what you need to do. So you have to kind of adjust what you're doing in that B&G and you're, to that specific, and go on this strictest section.
Yes.
Strictest insect. Okay. If ants, excluding Pharaoh, is 10 grams, okay, go 10 grams. Okay. That's what you have to do. And 10 grams will kill yellow jackets and wasps.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I actually never went 30 grams. I only went 30 grams on bed bugs. I always went 10 grams for everything else, and it's always worked perfectly for me.
Dude, I just learned that today for paper wasps. I just use 10 grams as well.
Yeah, I do. Well, and it's the transfer effect. I don't think 30 grams. I think 30 grams will kill them quicker. I don't think it's going to necessarily matter, though. I don't know the exact science behind it and why 30 is the perfect number, but I've always used 10, and 10's wiped them out every single time. So I don't know. Where are we on this one? Are we on outdoor applications?
Yes, we're moving from indoor, outdoor to outdoor.
Okay.
So this is a good one. Do not apply this product by any application method to linden, basswood, or other Tilia species of the state of Oregon. In the state of New York, do not apply. So it's cool. Kind of goes through some state-specific stuff. Surprised California's not on there. Outdoor applications. So it's going to be the same breakdown, guys, is like whether it has the indoor chart, the indoor/outdoor chart, or outdoor only chart. I think your responsibility is to know, let's say you are treating for fleas, right? Might not be the same if you're only doing outdoor versus indoor and outdoor, or just indoor. So there are a lot of specifics that you want to go through and see, just make sure that you are doing things properly. So just real quick, since I brought up fleas, 10 grams finished dilution per gallon. Apply to yards, porches, patios, other areas of habitation for fleas. Pay particular attention to shaded areas and low protective coverings such as bushes, under decks, lawn furniture. Apply to pet entry areas such as steps. Do not treat pets with this product. Right now, I'm actually curious to go back. See what it says for fleas.
No, but this is the great thing about the Alpine label and why everybody praises it so much and why they've gotten so much traction is because, listen, apply to yards. That's very, very broad. So that's awesome, right? Even in their YouTube video, if you go and watch it, you're allowed to spray up onto the roof in areas like that. You can't do that with a lot of products. No. You're very, very restricted. So when you're reading through this, it's not going to, when it is very broad like that, it's because they're not restricted to certain areas. So you can spray the entire yard.
Yeah.
It is saying apply to yards. Doesn't matter.
It says it in the label.
Now you do have to follow the very top. It says, hey, you have to dilute it to this, 1,000 square feet with 10 grams in a gallon, right? So you got to make that gallon spread out over 1,000 square feet.
Sure.
But you can treat everything. You just got to do it correctly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So it's really awesome how broad the label is.
Nice. Next page actually goes into some mosquito control. Again, it has application instructions, whether you're using handheld backpack, really good stuff. It did say it on this page too. So an arranged rate is indicated, use the lower rate for maintenance applications. I like that they keep repeating that at the bottom of the chart just to make sure like this is the standard, guys,
Yeah.
Another cool section, use in and around livestock housing. So I know we have some accounts up the hill where we're treating around barns, we're treating around livestock, and it's actually really good information. So for structural use indoors and outdoors of animal housing, remove animals or treat in areas where animals are not present. Do not apply to animals. Do not allow insecticide to drift into animals. Do not contaminate milk, food, or drinking water. And then you get a little bit more in the specifics. So to kill house flies on outdoor surfaces, including calf hutches, calving pens and parlors, chicken houses, goes through the entire thing. And then it says using a mixture of 10 to 20 grams of product per gallon of water, apply the rate of 1 gallon diluted product per 1,000 square feet of surface. For best results, initiate treatments at the beginning of the fly season and repeat during periods of heavy fly activity. I'm learning so much just from this episode.
Yeah, no. And I mean, and that's the thing, guys. I mean, you look at it, we're 35 minutes in, and besides all the BS and kind of sidetracked to talk about other things, we're talking 20 minutes to read an entire label of Alpine.
Honestly.
Like that's it. And now you know exactly where to spray, how to spray it, how to treat areas, how to treat all sorts of different insects. And kind of from that, every time I read the label, I get reminded and I learn something where I'm like, that's right. I didn't remember that. Oh yeah. 30 grams, I only use 10.
Yeah.
You know, that's all that stuff that comes back to you every time you go back over this label. And now we've taught these guys, our guys, Alpine label how many times, and we're still sitting here like,
yeah,
that's new.
Seriously.
But that's what I mean. It doesn't matter how many times you're reading it. You're just getting better and more comfortable with that label. And you start to see something because now it's wasp season, yellow jacket season. That's why we're looking at that saying, 30 grams. We can't go up to 30 grams.
Yeah.
You know, I was even calling BS on a guy because he was like, you can do 30 grams. I'm like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
I went and looked at the label. I was wrong. He was right. You can.
Exactly.
I don't, but you know, he was absolutely correct by following the label. It's 30 grams.
Yeah.
You know, so it is awesome that you get to see that and go back through. And as you guys are doing that, you're going to start to understand more and more and more and more.
Yeah. And I think we're really breaking it down because we wanted to show you how much is actually in there.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at a label out in the field, I typically don't pull it off an actual product. I just look it up online, just make sure it's the most up-to-date one. So I'm looking, customer tells me what they're dealing with. I look up online, Alpine WSG label. And then I can actually search in there, and I search like, silverfish or bed bugs or something. And I could just, go through it and actually get the specifics. And again, it's literally on your phone. It's so easy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it really is. And then the last section of the label, it's pretty basic stuff. We've been sitting on that same page for a while, the conditions and sell and warranty and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that stuff is all, you can read that on your own. Doesn't really matter to us.
Yeah.
But that's Alpine, right? I mean, a quick recap. I don't know if you guys are using Alpine where you're at. Most companies that I know of do, especially out here in California because of the label and because of how lenient it is.
Sure.
There's probably better products outside. But with the transfer effect and everything it does, it's really good for the majority of pests that we get calls on, right? Ants, wasps, yellow jackets. Those are the big ones that we're always getting phone calls for and people don't like. You do get the spiders and things like that, but there's other products for that and there's better products for that.
Definitely.
So that's just a quick label overview of Alpine WSG, how to use it, how to dilute it, where to spray it. I think everything.
No, you're good. Everything. You're good. And like from a manager's perspective, sometimes it's nice getting tips and ideas. And obviously we went over Alpine today, BASF, but I'm on these manufacturer websites to look up training ideas for guys as I'm learning stuff myself. So you're a tech who wants to learn, or you're a manager who wants to teach better. The point of this episode, we just wanted to make it understood how easy it is to actually get all this information and how it's not this huge task to get it. So please, guys, follow the label. You guys have the information. Look it up online. Once again, if you guys do find this information we're putting out useful, please like and share it. You know what I mean? We're trying to reach and spread this information as much as possible. And we want to hear your questions too. If you've never used Alpine or you've had good or bad experiences of Alpine, I think that's good for some of the listeners to kind of go back and forth on that. We do put out episodes every Monday and Thursday. I know last month was Heavy Pest Guest Month. We're going to have an episode coming out. We're going to go over that as well. Please make sure to follow us on our social media. We have Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I think I saw it on the thing, no?
I think it exists. We just don't use it very much.
We'll get to it.
That's something we need to start, but yeah.
Exactly. But once again, thank you for listening to the DNA Pest Control Podcast.